The story of Genghis Khan unfolds during the High Middle Ages, a turbulent period spanning the 12th and 13th centuries. In this era, the vast Eurasian landmass was a complex tapestry of competing powers and civilizations, each vying for control of vital resources and trade routes. The Central Asian steppes, stretching from Mongolia to Eastern Europe, formed the cradle of this epic tale. These endless grasslands, seemingly desolate to outsiders, were a harsh yet nurturing ground for the nomadic peoples who called them home. Picture an immense sea of grass swaying under an infinite sky, where the horizon melts into the distance in every direction. This world was anything but unified. The mighty Chinese Empire dominated the East, with its sophisticated bureaucracy and ancient traditions. To the west lay the wealthy Islamic sultanates, centers of learning and commerce. Further westward, the Russian principalities struggled to maintain their independence, while the Byzantine Empire clung to its remaining territories. The climate of the steppes shaped the character of its people. Summers brought scorching heat that turned the grasslands golden, while winters unleashed brutal cold that tested the survival skills of even the hardiest nomads. Spring and autumn offered brief respites, painting the landscape with wildflowers and autumn gold. Life on the steppes was a constant struggle for resources. Nomadic tribes moved with their herds, following ancient patterns of seasonal migration. Water sources, grazing lands, and shelter became precious commodities, often leading to fierce conflicts between different groups. The sensory landscape of this world was rich and vivid. The thundering of horse hooves echoed across the plains as mounted warriors rode in formation. The haunting howl of steppe winds created an eternal soundtrack, punctuated by the sharp twang of bowstrings as warriors honed their archery skills. The clip-clop of thousands of hooves during tribal migrations merged with the bleating of sheep and the lowing of cattle. The olfactory experience was equally intense. The air carried the rich scent of cured leather from saddles, boots, and armor. Campfire smoke drifted across the grasslands, signaling the presence of Gur camps. The unmistakable smell of horses permeated everything, their sweat, their breath, their presence inseparable from human existence. The unique aroma of kumis, the fermented mare's milk that sustained the steppe peoples, added another layer to this sensory tapestry. In this world of constant movement and change, alliances formed and dissolved like morning mist. Trade routes crisscrossed the steppes, carrying not just goods but ideas, technologies, and cultural influences between East and West. This was the crucible in which Genghis Khan would forge the largest contiguous land empire in history, forever changing the course of human civilization. At the heart of this epic tale stands Temujin, the man who would become Genghis Khan. Born into the harsh world of the Mongolian steppes around 1162, his early life was marked by tragedy and survival. When he was only 9 years old, his father Yasujii, a minor tribal chief, was poisoned by Tatars, leaving his family abandoned by their clan to face certain death in the unforgiving steppes. Young Temujin's childhood was a crucible of hardship. He learned to survive by eating roots and wild berries, developing an iron will that would later shape an empire. Despite these humble beginnings, or perhaps because of them, he grew into a leader of extraordinary capability. His personality was a complex tapestry of seemingly contradictory traits. Ruthless when necessary, yet surprisingly merciful to those who showed loyalty. A brilliant strategist who could also inspire deep personal devotion. By his side stood Borte, his first and principal wife, who proved to be far more than a mere consort. Her intelligence and political acumen made her one of his most trusted advisors. Even after her dramatic kidnapping by the Merkit tribe and subsequent rescue, her loyalty and counsel remained unwavering. Her influence on Temujin's decisions, particularly in matters of diplomacy and clan politics, was profound though often overlooked by historical accounts. Among his most valued generals was Jebe, whose story epitomizes Temujin's remarkable ability to turn enemies into steadfast allies. Originally an enemy warrior who had shot Temujin's horse in battle, Jebe, whose name means arrow, was spared and rewarded for his honesty when he admitted to the deed. He went on to become one of the most brilliant military commanders in Mongol history, leading victorious campaigns from China to Eastern Europe. Subutii, another of his exceptional generals, emerged as perhaps the greatest military strategist of his age. Rising from humble origins as a blacksmith's son, he orchestrated some of the most sophisticated military campaigns of the medieval world. His tactical genius helped create the most mobile and adaptable army ever seen, capable of fighting in any terrain and adapting enemy technologies and tactics. The story's dramatic tension was heightened by formidable antagonists. None was more significant than Jamukha, Temujin's sworn blood brother, who became his bitter rival. Their relationship transformed from the closest of friendships to the most painful of enmities, representing the complex loyalties and betrayals that characterize steppe politics. Their final confrontation would determine the future of the Mongol people. Wang Khan, the powerful leader of the Karait tribe and once a patron and ally to Temujin, became another crucial antagonist. Initially a father figure to the young Temujin, his eventual betrayal would test Temujin's strategic abilities and force him to demonstrate the leadership qualities that would later make him Genghis Khan. The political chess game between these two leaders would reshape the power dynamics of the entire steppe region. Through these relationships, both supportive and antagonistic, Temujin developed the leadership style that would allow him to unite the warring tribes and create an empire. He learned to judge character with uncanny accuracy, to inspire loyalty through a combination of generosity and justice, and to turn former enemies into devoted followers. These skills, honed through his interactions with both allies and adversaries, would prove crucial in his transformation from an abandoned tribal heir to the ruler of the largest land empire in history. At its core, the saga of Genghis Khan centers around the twin pillars of unification and transformation, not just of a people or a region, but of an entire worldview. This narrative transcends the simple tale of conquest to become a story of how one man's vision reshaped the medieval world's political, social, and cultural landscape. The personal conflicts that shaped Genghis Khan's journey began in the crucible of early adversity. Rising from a childhood marked by poverty and abandonment, he faced death, starvation, and betrayal. Each challenge forged his character stronger, like steel tempered in fire. His transformation from the abandoned son of a murdered tribal leader to the ruler of the largest contiguous empire in history embodies the ultimate tale of personal triumph over adversity. Political unification stands as perhaps the most remarkable achievement in this epic story. The Mongolian steppes were a fragmented landscape of competing tribes, each fiercely protective of its independence and traditional ways. The task of uniting these disparate groups, each with their own loyalties, grievances, and blood feuds, seemed impossible. Yet through a combination of military prowess, diplomatic skill, and innovative leadership, Genghis Khan achieved what no one before him had managed: the complete unification of the Mongol tribes under a single banner. The cultural challenge proved equally monumental. As the empire expanded, it encompassed an unprecedented diversity of peoples: nomadic steppe tribes, sophisticated Chinese urbanites, Islamic scholars, Russian princes, and more. The task of integrating these various cultures into a coherent empire required remarkable adaptability and innovation. Rather than imposing a single cultural model, Genghis Khan created a system that allowed for cultural autonomy while maintaining political unity, a revolutionary concept for its time. Throughout this narrative, the tension between loyalty and betrayal emerges as a recurring theme. From his blood brother Jamukha's betrayal to the unwavering loyalty of generals like Jebe and Subudai, these relationships illustrate the complex web of personal and political allegiances that shaped the empire. Genghis Khan's ability to inspire loyalty and his harsh treatment of betrayal became legendary, creating a new social contract in the steppes. The conflict between tradition and innovation plays out on multiple levels. While respecting many aspects of traditional Mongol culture, Genghis Khan wasn't afraid to break with convention when necessary. He implemented revolutionary military tactics, created a novel system of administration, and established new forms of communication and transportation. This balance between preserving cultural identity and embracing necessary change became a hallmark of his rule. The theme of power and responsibility weaves through every aspect of the story. As his authority grew, so did his understanding of power's obligations. He created a comprehensive legal code, the Yasa, established a merit-based military and administrative system, and developed infrastructure to support trade and communication across his vast domains. His approach to power was pragmatic yet visionary, focusing on creating sustainable systems rather than merely accumulating personal authority. This narrative remains relevant today as it explores universal themes: how societies handle change, the balance between unity and diversity, and the relationship between power and responsibility. The conflicts and challenges faced by Genghis Khan, personal, political, and cultural, mirror many of the challenges faced by leaders and societies in our modern world. The story's enduring power lies in its demonstration of how vision, adaptability, and determination can transform not just an individual or a nation, but an entire world. It shows how innovation can arise from tradition, how unity can emerge from chaos, and how leadership can transform adverse circumstances into opportunities for revolutionary change. The Mongol society under Genghis Khan represented a fascinating blend of traditional nomadic customs and revolutionary social innovations. At its foundation lay the gur, the traditional Mongolian dwelling that embodied both practicality and cultural significance. These round, felt-covered tents could be dismantled and reassembled within hours, perfect for a mobile society. Inside each gur, life followed ancient patterns. The right side was reserved for men, the left for women, and the northern end held the place of honor. The transformation of Mongol society began with its military organization, built upon the decimal system. This brilliantly simple structure divided the entire population into units of 10, 100, 1,000, and 10,000 tuman. Each unit functioned as both a military and administrative division, creating a society where civilian and military life were seamlessly integrated. This system's efficiency was remarkable. It could mobilize vast armies quickly while maintaining social order during peacetime. Perhaps the most revolutionary aspect of Genghis Khan's social structure was its embrace of meritocracy. In a radical departure from traditional tribal societies, advancement was based on individual ability rather than family connections or tribal affiliations. A person of humble origins could rise to the highest positions through demonstration of skill, loyalty, and effectiveness. This system created unprecedented social mobility and helped forge a unified empire from diverse tribal elements. Women in Mongol society enjoyed rights and privileges that were extraordinary for their time. While men were often away on military campaigns, women managed domestic affairs, conducted diplomacy, and administered vast territories. Genghis Khan's own mother and principal wife, Borte, were powerful figures who influenced imperial policy. Women could own property, choose their husbands, and participate in important political decisions. Some even commanded armies and ruled regions as regents. The Yam system, a sophisticated postal relay network, revolutionized communication across the empire. Stations were positioned approximately 20 to 30 miles apart, each maintaining fresh horses, supplies, and accommodation for messengers. This system enabled information to travel at unprecedented speeds. A message could cover 250 miles per day, an extraordinary achievement for the medieval world. Religious tolerance became a cornerstone of Mongol imperial policy. Genghis Khan recognized that forcing religious conformity would create unnecessary resistance and instability. Instead, he protected all religions, exempted religious leaders from taxes, and encouraged religious debate and exchange. This policy fostered cultural exchange and helped maintain peace across the diverse empire. International diplomacy under the Mongols reached new levels of sophistication. The empire maintained diplomatic relations with powers from Europe to Asia, exchanging ambassadors, negotiating treaties, and establishing trade agreements. Mongol diplomatic missions included not just political envoys but also merchants, scholars, and artisans, facilitating cultural and technological exchange. The Silk Road experienced its golden age under Mongol rule. The empire's unified administration and strong security measures created an environment where trade could flourish. Merchants could travel safely across vast distances, protected by Mongol law and military might. This led to unprecedented economic prosperity and cultural exchange, with goods, ideas, and technologies flowing freely between East and West. Daily life in the Mongol Empire reflected this complex social structure. A typical day might see merchants from Venice discussing trade terms with Chinese counterparts, while Buddhist monks debated philosophy with Muslim scholars. Mongol warriors trained alongside settled agriculturalists, and tribal aristocrats worked with administrators from conquered territories. The success of these social innovations lay in their practical effectiveness, combined with respect for existing customs. Genghis Khan's genius was in recognizing which traditional elements to preserve and which to transform, creating a society that was both dynamic and stable, traditional and revolutionary. This remarkable social system proved so effective that many of its innovations survived long after the empire's political dissolution. Its influence can be seen in everything from military organization to postal systems, from diplomatic protocols to concepts of religious tolerance. making it one of history's most significant social transformations. Indeed, Genghis Khan's transformation of Mongol society was truly revolutionary. Which aspect of this transformation do you find most remarkable? Share your thoughts in the comments below. The Great Unification of 1206 stands as one of history's most pivotal moments. In the frozen steppes of Mongolia, tribal leaders gathered for an extraordinary Kurultai, a grand assembly that would change the course of history. Here, Temujin was proclaimed Genghis Khan, the supreme ruler of all Mongols. The air was thick with anticipation as tribal chiefs, once bitter rivals, knelt before their new leader, their colorful deal robes creating a sea of movement against the winter landscape. This historic assembly marked more than a mere political victory. Genghis Khan immediately launched a complete reorganization of Mongol society and military structure. The traditional tribal divisions dissolved into a sophisticated decimal system. Warriors found themselves organized into units of 10, 100,000, and 10,000, creating an army of unprecedented flexibility and coordination. Each soldier knew his exact place in this new order, transforming a collection of tribal warriors into history's most formidable military machine. The creation of the Yasa, Genghis Khan's comprehensive legal code, brought revolutionary change to Mongol society. These laws touched every aspect of life, from military discipline to family relations. The Yasa established clear rules for succession, punishment for crimes, and even proper behavior during meals. While maintaining respect for traditional Mongol customs, it created a unified legal framework that would bind together the world's largest land empire. The conquest of the Jin Empire, beginning in 1211, marked the Mongols' first major campaign against a sophisticated sedentary civilization. The Jin, with their massive cities and advanced technology, presented challenges unlike anything the Mongols had faced before. Genghis Khan's response was characteristically innovative. His forces quickly adapted Chinese siege technology, learning to construct and operate complex machinery they had never before encountered. The siege of Zhongdu, modern-day Beijing, showcased this remarkable adaptability. Mongol forces mastered the use of catapults, siege towers, and gunpowder weapons. They learned to redirect rivers, undermining city walls with sophisticated engineering techniques. Each victory brought new knowledge, new technology, and new tactics into the Mongol military repertoire. The campaign against the Khwarezmian Empire, launched in 1219, represented the Mongols' largest and most complex military operation to date. What began as a response to the murder of Mongol merchants and ambassadors evolved into a massive campaign that would reshape Central Asia. The scale was unprecedented, multiple armies moving in coordinated fashion across thousands of miles, maintaining communication through an elaborate system of horse relays and signal stations. Mongol forces demonstrated extraordinary tactical flexibility during this campaign. They crossed deserts thought impassable, scaled mountains considered unassailable, and captured cities deemed impregnable. The siege of Samarkand and Bokhara showed how far Mongol military capabilities had evolved. Cities that had withstood centuries of attacks fell to innovative combinations of psychological warfare, engineering expertise, and raw military power. The transformation of Eurasian trade followed in the wake of these conquests. The Mongols secured and standardized trade routes, created a unified postal system, and established a common peace across vast territories. Merchants could now travel safely from China to Persia, carrying goods, ideas, and technologies across unprecedented distances. This commercial revolution would create lasting connections between East and West, fundamentally altering the medieval world's economic landscape. These major events and turning points reveal a pattern of continuous innovation and adaptation. Each challenge encountered was met with creative solutions that became permanent additions to the Mongol imperial system. The empire that emerged was not just a territory conquered by force of arms, but a sophisticated political entity that would reshape human civilization. The cultural and intellectual achievements of the Mongol Empire represent one of history's most remarkable periods of knowledge exchange and preservation. Under Genghis Khan's rule, the empire became a crucible of learning, where diverse intellectual traditions merged and flourished in unprecedented ways. The adoption of the Uyghur script marked a crucial turning point in Mongol cultural development. Before this innovation, the Mongols had no written language of their own. The decision to adapt the Uyghur alphabet to write Mongolian demonstrated remarkable practical wisdom. This script, written vertically and perfectly suited to be inscribed on strips of bark or leather, became the foundation of Mongol literary culture. Soon, royal decrees, diplomatic correspondence, and historical records were being preserved in this new writing system, creating a lasting legacy of Mongol thought and administration. Knowledge preservation under the Mongols took on a systematic character previously unknown in the steppes. Libraries and scriptoriums sprang up across the empire, where scholars worked tirelessly to translate and preserve texts from every culture they encountered. Chinese medical treatises, Persian astronomical tables, and Greek philosophical works were translated into multiple languages, creating an unprecedented circulation of ideas across Eurasia. The Silk Road, under Mongol protection, became far more than a trade route. It transformed into a superhighway of knowledge exchange. Scholars, artists, and craftsmen traveled freely across the empire, bringing their expertise to new audiences. A Chinese astronomer might find himself explaining celestial movements to Central Asian colleagues, while Persian physicians shared their medical knowledge in the courts of Mongolia. In the field of astronomy, Mongol rule fostered remarkable advances. The observatory at Moraga, established under Mongol patronage, became one of medieval history's greatest scientific centers. Here, astronomers from across Eurasia worked together, creating new instruments and more accurate astronomical tables. Their work would influence scientific development from China to Europe for centuries to come. Mathematical knowledge flourished as different traditions cross-pollinated under Mongol rule. Chinese computational methods merged with Indian numerical systems and Arabic algebraic concepts, creating new mathematical syntheses. The empire's needs for accurate calendars, tax calculations, and architectural planning drove mathematical innovation forward. Traditional medicine experienced a golden age of development and synthesis. Mongolian shamanic healing practices encountered Chinese acupuncture, Islamic medical theory, and Indian Ayurvedic traditions. The result was a sophisticated medical system that combined the best elements of multiple healing traditions. Mongolian rulers established hospitals and medical schools where different therapeutic approaches were studied and practiced side by side. The realm of craftsmanship and metallurgy showcased Mongol genius for technological adaptation and improvement. Master craftsmen from China, Central Asia, and Persia found themselves working together in imperial workshops. The results were extraordinary. New techniques in textile production, innovations in weaponry, and advances in metalworking that combined traditions from across Eurasia. Mongol metalworking achieved particular distinction. Their artisans developed new methods for casting bronze, working precious metals, and forging steel. The famous Mongol composite bow, combining materials and techniques from multiple traditions, exemplified their ability to improve upon existing technologies. The intellectual legacy of this period extends far beyond the empire's political boundaries. The Mongol synthesis of knowledge created new paradigms in fields ranging from cartography to engineering. Their systematic approach to gathering and preserving knowledge, combined with their willingness to adopt and adapt useful innovations from any source, created an intellectual revolution whose effects still resonate. In the imperial courts, scholars compiled comprehensive encyclopedias that preserved knowledge across multiple disciplines. These works, covering topics from agriculture to zoology, represented the first systematic attempts to create universal compilations of human knowledge. Many of these texts survive today, providing invaluable insights into medieval scientific and technical knowledge. This remarkable period of cultural and intellectual ferment produced lasting changes in how knowledge was created, preserved, and transmitted. The Mongol Empire's role as a catalyst for intellectual exchange and synthesis remains one of its most significant, though often overlooked, legacies to world civilization. The Mongol Empire's approach to international relations revolutionized medieval diplomacy and created the first truly global network of political, commercial, and cultural exchange. Under Genghis Khan and his successors, diplomatic relations reached unprecedented levels of sophistication and scale. International diplomacy under Mongol rule operated with remarkable complexity. The empire maintained a network of permanent diplomatic missions stretching from Korea to Eastern Europe. These weren't merely political outposts. They functioned as centers of cultural exchange and information gathering. Mongol embassies housed not only diplomats but also scholars, merchants, and artisans, creating multifaceted channels of interaction between civilizations. The famous journey of Marco Polo represents just one example of the extensive diplomatic networks established during this period. Less well-known but equally significant were the journeys of countless other diplomats and envoys. Rabban Bar Sauma, a Chinese Christian monk, traveled from Beijing to Europe as a Mongol ambassador, while William of Rubruck's detailed account of his diplomatic mission to Mongolia provided Europe with its first detailed description of Central Asian societies. Trade protection under the Mongols transformed medieval commerce. The Pax Mongolica, Mongol peace, created an environment where merchants could travel safely across vast distances. The Mongols established a sophisticated system of caravanserais, fortified way stations that provided shelter, supplies, and protection for traveling merchants. These facilities, positioned at regular intervals along major trade routes, revolutionized long-distance commerce. The scale of technological transfer during this period was unprecedented. Chinese innovations like paper money, printing technology, and gunpowder weapons spread westward, while Middle Eastern advances in astronomy, mathematics, and medicine moved east. The Mongols actively encouraged this exchange, often relocating skilled craftsmen and engineers across their empire to share expertise and innovations. The first true globalization emerged under Mongol rule. For the first time in history, a merchant could travel safely from Venice to China, conducting business under a single, unified commercial system. The standardization of weights, measures, and currencies across the empire facilitated trade on an unprecedented scale. This commercial integration had profound effects on world history, creating lasting connections between previously isolated regions. Agricultural technology underwent significant transformation through these exchanges. Middle Eastern irrigation techniques were introduced to China, while Chinese agricultural innovations spread westward. The widespread adoption of new crops and farming methods led to increased food production across Eurasia, supporting population growth and urbanization. Demographic changes resulting from Mongol rule were profound and far-reaching. The movement of peoples across the empire created new ethnic and cultural mixtures. Skilled artisans, scholars, and merchants were often relocated to new regions, leading to the establishment of diverse communities throughout Eurasia. Persian astronomers found themselves working in China, while Chinese engineers helped construct siege engines in Iran. The impact on urban development was equally significant. The Mongols founded new cities and revitalized existing ones, creating cosmopolitan centers where different cultures merged. Karakoram, the Mongol capital, exemplified this fusion, hosting Buddhist temples, Muslim mosques, and Christian churches side by side, while its markets featured goods from every corner of the known world. Medical knowledge experienced particularly dramatic advancement through these exchanges. Chinese, Islamic, and Indian medical traditions met and merged, creating new approaches to healing. The Mongols established hospitals that combined different medical traditions, leading to innovations in treatment methods and pharmaceutical knowledge. The empire's communication system represented another revolutionary development. The YAM network, with its relay stations and messenger service, created the world's first international postal system. This network not only served diplomatic and military purposes, but also facilitated the spread of news, ideas, and cultural influences across vast distances. Artistic traditions experienced unprecedented cross-pollination during this period. Chinese porcelain techniques influenced Persian ceramics, while Central Asian metalworking methods affected Chinese craftsmanship. New artistic styles emerged that combined elements from multiple traditions, creating unique aesthetic expressions that reflected the cosmopolitan nature of the empire. The lasting impact of these interactions and influences cannot be overstated. The networks and connections established during the Mongol period created permanent links between East and West, fundamentally altering the course of world history. Many of the trade routes, cultural connections, and technological exchanges initiated during this period continued long after the empire's political decline, shaping the development of human civilization for centuries to come. This period of intense global interaction under Mongol rule marked a turning point in human history, creating patterns of international exchange and cultural fusion that prefigured our modern globalized world. The legacy of these exchanges continues to influence international relations, commerce, and cultural interaction in the present day. The legacy of Genghis Khan and the Mongol Empire continues to reverberate through history, shaping our understanding of leadership, empire building, and global interconnectedness. This extraordinary chapter in human history offers profound insights relevant to our contemporary world. The creation of history's largest contiguous land empire remains an unparalleled achievement. At its peak, the Mongol Empire stretched from Korea to Eastern Europe, encompassing roughly 24 million square kilometers. This vast territorial expanse created unprecedented opportunities for cultural exchange and technological diffusion. The sheer scale of this achievement forces us to reconsider conventional narratives about the capabilities of nomadic societies and the nature of empire building. The Mongol Empire's role in creating the first true globalization represents perhaps its most significant legacy. Long before the term globalization entered our vocabulary, the Mongols established a framework for international exchange that transformed the medieval world. They created standardized systems of commerce, communication, and governance that spanned continents. The Silk Road, under Mongol protection, became history's first genuine superhighway of ideas, goods, and cultural exchange. Modern Eurasia's political and cultural landscape bears the indelible imprint of the Mongol period. The emergence of Russia as a unified state, the development of Central Asian nations, and many aspects of Chinese and Middle Eastern civilization show clear influences from the Mongol era. Even contemporary geopolitical relationships often follow patterns established during the time of the empire. In terms of leadership lessons, Genghis Khan's approach offers remarkable insights for modern organizations. His ability to identify and promote talent regardless of background, emphasis on loyalty over heredity, and commitment to continuous learning and adaptation resonate strongly with contemporary leadership theory. The Mongol practice of incorporating useful innovations from conquered peoples demonstrates the value of organizational flexibility and openness to new ideas. The Mongol approach to managing cultural diversity provides valuable lessons for our increasingly interconnected world. Their empire succeeded largely because of their ability to accommodate and integrate different cultures, religions, and traditions. They maintained stability across a vast multicultural empire, not through forced assimilation, but through a remarkable degree of cultural and religious tolerance. This sophisticated approach to diversity management offers important insights for modern multinational organizations and multicultural societies. The empire's emphasis on communication infrastructure holds particular relevance in our digital age. The YAM system, their sophisticated network of relay stations and messengers, demonstrates the crucial importance of efficient information flow in managing large organizations. This medieval information superhighway facilitated rapid communication across vast distances, much like today's internet revolutionizes global connectivity. Technological adaptation and innovation under Mongol rule provides lessons in the importance of knowledge, sharing, and technological diffusion. Their willingness to adopt and adapt technologies from various cultures, combined with their ability to spread innovations across their vast territories, created one of history's most significant periods of technological advancement. This approach to technological innovation and dissemination offers insights for modern innovation management and technology transfer. The environmental impact of the Mongol Empire also holds lessons for contemporary society. Their management of vast grasslands, water resources, and trade routes required sophisticated environmental understanding. The collapse of some of these systems offers cautionary tales about the importance of sustainable resource management. Urban development under Mongol rule demonstrates the potential for cities to serve as crucibles of cultural exchange and innovation. Their capital, Karakorum, and other major cities became multicultural hubs where different traditions merged and new ideas flourished. This model of urban cosmopolitanism offers insights for modern cities grappling with diversity and cultural integration. The Mongol Empire's administrative innovations continue to influence modern governance. Their systematic approach to census-taking, postal services, and diplomatic relations established patterns that would influence state administration for centuries. Their merit-based military and civil service systems prefigured modern bureaucratic organizations. Perhaps most significantly, the Mongol period demonstrates how periods of intense global interaction can transform human civilization. The networks of exchange they established created lasting connections between different parts of the world, fundamentally altering the course of human development. This historical example of successful global integration offers both inspiration and warnings for our increasingly interconnected world. As we face contemporary challenges of globalization, cultural integration, and technological change, the legacy of Genghis Khan and the Mongol Empire offers valuable insights. Their achievements remind us that transformative change is possible, while their experience highlights both the opportunities and challenges of managing diverse, interconnected systems on a global scale. This extraordinary historical episode continues to inform our understanding of leadership, cultural exchange, and global integration. As we navigate our own era of rapid change and global interconnection, the lessons from this remarkable period of human history become increasingly relevant and instructive.